Okay, so now we're going to learn the Sicha in Chelek Yud Gimel on Parshas Pנחas. It's pretty small, a small Sicha, short Sicha, but it's very, very nice. And it gives us a perspective on Moshe Rabbeinu, what he was told, the setup of the Torah mitzvahs as he was told. Was he informed everything in the beginning or came in periodically? B, Moshe's approach, Moshe's love for Klal Yisrael, that sometimes he would allow the credit to be given to other people for a certain mitzvah, even though he was informed of it before these people requested this mitzvah. So we're talking, it's in Parshas Pנחas, and over there we all know that the story of the Bnei Slavchad, where Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching the Yidden the laws of Yerusha, the laws of inheritance, and we know that al pi Torah, inheritance goes to sons. Daughters don't have Yerusha, and therefore, because daughters marry out to other families, so it's not staying in the family. So when Bnei Slavchad heard these halachas, they came and said, what happens to us where our father only had daughters? Would there not be, is there no, I don't know when to use the word a loophole, is there any halacha which will apply to families where there are only girls? And when they asked Moshe Rabbeinu the question, it says Moshe Rabbeinu Kvayachol sort of was stumbled, and he was stumped, and he waited. He said, "Let me ask the Eibishter to find out what the answer is." And the question is, we don't usually find that Moshe Rabbeinu was stumped. What's the reason over here? This part of the halacha wasn't taught to him yet. So let's read the Sicha inside Ois Aleph. But before we even get there, there is a star ha'ara on from the Rebbe on the bottom about the name of the Sedra Pנחas, of how the name Pנחas is written. And the Sicha, they write Pנחas Pei Yud Nun Ches Samach. Now Pנחas could be written with the Yud, the way it's spelled out here, or Pנחas Pei Nun Ches Samach. And the Rebbe writes it with the Yud, and the bottom he brings from the Beis Shmuel, which is a commentary on the Shulchan Aruch, where he discusses how different names should be written when you write a get, because it has to be exact. So he says the Pנחas is written with the Yud, because most of the places Pנחas is written in the Mesorah, it's with a Yud. Chutz Echad. Besides one place, the Pנחas is written without a Yud. So the proper way to write Pנחas is with the Yud. Anyways, let's get to the Chumash Rashi. Says the Rebbe, Ala Pasuk, the Pasuk says in Parshas Pנחas, Vayakrev Moshe es Mishpaton. Moshe brought the case, the mishpat, the judgment of Shel Bnei Slavcha, the request, the discussion of the daughters of Slavcha Lifnei Hashem. He brought it to the Eibishter, and the Eibishter said how to deal with a situation like that. Well, Maitik Rashi HaTevis, Rashi quotes 4 words from this pasuk. The words Vayakrev Moshe es Mishpatam. Moshe Rabbeinu brought their judgment, their mishpat, to the Eibishter. So he only quotes these 4 words, and Rashi obviously is bothered with the question, why didn't Moshe answer them on their own? Why did Moshe have to bring their case to the Eibishter? Umefarish, and Rashi gives 2 answers. The first answer Rashi gives, this alma halacha mimenu. Moshe Rabbeinu was stumped. He forgot what the halacha, what the answer to this case is supposed to be. And why did it happen that he was stumped? Since we don't find it that often, the Moshe didn't have a ready answer. So Rashi gives an explanation. The Khan Nifra over here, he was paid, he was sort of punished, al shanata atara loymar, because Moshe, when he was setting up the justice system, he took it upon himself, and he said, the expression is he anointed himself with a crown, sort of chas v'shalom, a little arrogance, when he said the regular shoftim, the regular dayanim should judge any simple case. But v'adavar asher yiksha mikem, things that are very, very difficult, Tikravun Elai, you bring that to me. So because Moshe Rabbeinu put himself in that, that I'm going to get all the difficult cases, he is sort of a level of arrogance. He gets punished, and there are certain things he will be stumped. And this is one of the cases that people asked him a question. The Bnei Slafra asked him, and he didn't have an answer. That is the first reason why it happened here, that he had to go to the Eibishter to see what to do. Dover Acher, another pshat, another explanation why Moshe couldn't give them the answer straight. Says Rashi, Ru'uya hoisa parsha zuli hikasev al yidei Moshe. Really, this parsha could have been written through anybody, through Moshe Rabbeinu, like all the other mitzvahs. Even the detail how you deal with a family that only has daughters. Ela shezachu b'nei Slavchad. The daughters of Slavchad merited. There was something special about them, that they merited v'nichteva al yodam, and this mitzvah was written because of them, through them. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't necessarily forget anything. It's the credit that the Eibishter wanted to give to Bnei Slavchad, that they will deserve the credit for why this mitzvah is documented and written in the Torah. Two separate answers. One answer is it's sort of a punishment. Moshe forgot certain things for saying, hey, I'm going to take every difficult case. So he actually forgot. The second answer is not necessarily forgot anything. The Torah wants to give credit to Bnei Slavchad for their request. Says the Rebbe, L'chayra kavanasei lahasber atmiyah. L'chayra, Rashi's point over here is to answer a very simple question that comes in this pasuk, and Rashi gives two answers to that simple question. What is this simple question that's bothering anybody who learns this pasuk? Eichi tochin, how is it possible? Shebesoifa arba'im shana, after 40 years being in the Midbar, and Moshe is leading Klal Yisrael for 40 years, Moshe layoda din ikri keseder nachlos. This fundamental law of Yerusha, these details of Yerusha, how is it possible when Moshe Rabbeinu is leading Klal Yisrael and teaching Klal Yisrael already 40 years, he doesn't have the answer to this question? Mishpatam shel b'nai Slavchad, the issue that b'nai Slavchad bring up, he didn't have an answer to that. And therefore Rashi answers this problem with two ways. Aleph, the first way Rashi answers, originally Moshe had the answer to everything. Moshe could have answered them in normal circumstances. Moshe Rabbeinu was punished. He forgot. He got stumped. He knew about it, but because of a punishment, he forgot it. That's the first answer. Bays. The second answer is, no, perhaps he didn't forget anything. He knew the answer. Rather, Shera'uya Haisa Parsha Zuli Hikasev. This Parsha of Nachlis, the Parsha of inheritance, somehow the Eibishter wanted to give credit to the Bnei Slavcha, that they should be the ones that brought out this mitzvah. Says the Rebbe, V'tzarich lahavin. I have to understand a couple of basic questions in this dialogue, this discussion in Rashi. Aleph, number one, Haloi Matzinu Kama B'hamim B'Torah. We find many times in the Torah, Gam Lefnei Parshazu, even before Parshas Pנחas, that a story happens, and the Shenistapik Moshe B'Negei Halacha Mesuyemes. This is not the first time Moshe Rabbeinu says, I don't know what to do yet. Give me some time. There's other situations happened even earlier where Moshe was in doubt what the halacha should be, and the Rebbe brings in the Ha'ara 3. We find it in 4 places that Moshe was in doubt. Here by Bnei Slavchad, by the parsha of the Megadif, the one who cursed Chas v'Shalom, the Eibishter, and the parsha of Pesach Sheni, those who came and said Lama Nigara, and the parsha of Mekoshes Eitzim, what type of punishment they deserve for collecting and being wood on Shabbos. Those were 4 situations that the Torah clearly says Moshe Rabbeinu was hesitating. he didn't know exactly how to deal with the problem. And yet, Rashi loy pirish behem shenis alma halachim imenu. Rashi over there does not say, you know why Moshe Rabbeinu was hesitating? Because it was he was meant to be stumped. It was taken away from him. In other words, Rashi doesn't say that there because, as the Rebbe goes on to say, Hareisha Teufes Rashi means that Rashi must hold in all those cases. Ki amna yitachin loymar. It is very possible to say, Sha'alocha zu lo shama Moshe adai me'akadosh baruch hu. Maybe this detail that was just presented to him, these four cases, Pesach Sheni, the Megadev, the Mekoshes, maybe Moshe Rabbeinu really did not know the answer. It was he was never taught that case, and now the case was going to be answered to him for the first time. So Rashi in all other places is not bothered by the question, why is Moshe hesitating to give an answer? Because it could be this is the first time he's being taught this. And the Rebbe in Ara 5 goes on to discuss how does this way of thinking shtim go together with what the Rashi brings in Parshas Bahar, that in Har Sinai everything about the Torah was given to us, even the kololos upratis, the details. So how is it possible that some details come in later? But the fact is, however you explain that Rashi, and throughout the stories in the Torah, it seems to be that Rashi is willing to accept that certain things were not told to him by Matan Torah. It was only told to him as the events took place. If so, your question, you should not have a question, how did Moshe not know? Because he wasn't told yet. If that's true, ma machricha kan, why is Rashi so bothered here with this question, and therefore he's forced to say, Sheyoda halacha, Moshe for sure knew it, but v'nisalma mimeni, it was taken away from him as a punishment. Maybe it was never taught to him. Just like the other places, Rashi is not bothered with that question. Number 2, Beis, the Pirush Beis. Then Rashi goes on and brings a second answer. The second answer is Moshe didn't forget anything. Moshe knew it, but the Torah wants to give credit to the Bnei Salafcha for this mitzvah. Says the Rebbe, let's talk about the second answer. Bepirush Beis gam ken kashal derech hanau. Even if you accept the second answer, in other words, you're automatically accepting Moshe must have known it. Moshe for sure knew it, but he doesn't. The Torah wants to give them credit. I thought we're willing to accept that certain things he wasn't taught yet. L'chayra kavanas Rashi. L'chayra Rashi's intention, b'mashikasav ru'uya haisa parsha zuli kasev, when Rashi says that this parsha should have been written because of these women, shalei nemru lo yadayim parsha zu. It could mean that this parsha was not told yet to Moshe. This parsha was not told, and they could have the right that it should be established because of them. Umefarish hatam lama lo nemru lo, and the Rashi himself says, what is the reason that Moshe wasn't told this halacha yet? Because shezachu b'nei slavchad, because there's something that the Eibishter wants to give a special zchus to b'nei slavchad. Because of them, this mitzvah is started. Is it kasha? Here my question is, lama dafka kan mefarish Rashi hatam shalei nemer lo yadayim. Why does Rashi have to explain why it wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't told yet? Only because of the schus for loibe parshas hakaidmus. In the other cases where Moshe is hesitating, Rashi doesn't come along and say what's the reason he wasn't told yet. Gimel. Im kavonas Rashi liyashiv. If Rashi's intention is to answer, if all that's bothering Rashi is how is it possible Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know something? When Rashi wants to explain this, he should have quoted from the Psukim. as the headline, Rak Vayakrev Moshe. Just the words, Moshe brought this case. Why did Moshe not know this case? Why did he have to bring it elsewhere? And since Rashi does not just quote those words, if Rashi would have just quote those words Vayakrev Moshe, you would understand that he's coming to explain why Moshe had to go elsewhere to get an answer. But why did the Rashi as the headline also have to add two words that don't seem to be anything as a proof to what you're saying? Why did he also quote the words es mishpaton? Dalid, a fourth question. Bepirusha beparshas ba'aleischa, as mentioned before, this is not the first time Moshe Rabbeinu was stumped. In Parshas ba'aleischa, where it talks about the Pesach Sheni, over there Moshe also didn't have an answer to those who were Tmeim Nefesh Adam. As the Rebbe himself says, Pirush, over there Rashi explains, Rashi gives an explanation there, similar to our second answer here, that those who were Tmeim Nefesh Adam, the Eibishter wants to give them the credit for bringing this mitzvah on. Over there, the wording of that Rashi is not exactly the same wording as here. Over there, Kasav Rashi, over there Rashi writes, V'ru'uya hoise parsha zu lehei omer, that the parsha of Pesach Sheni should have been said because of them, because of the Tmeim. Shezachu elu, that those Tmeim who came and asked, how can we do the carbon, they merited Shetei Omer al Yadeyim, that the mitzvah is said, the mitzvah is even brought because of them. The Tzarech Lahavin, over here the wording is different. Lama Shina Khan, why what Rashi says over here, because of Ru'uya Hoisa Parsha Zu Lehikasev, that this mitzvah is right. They merited that this mitzvah should be documented, should be written on their behalf. In other words, there is a difference between the time the mitzvah was actually told, or from when the mitzvah is being documented. By Pesach Sheni, it says that the Tmeim were merited, that the mitzvah was said because of them. Over here, Rashi says that the mitzvah was written, nichtava al yodam, written because of them. Now the Rebbe in Ara 10 says this is only in Rashi we find the difference between Amira and Ksiba. In Sifri, we find in both places that it's written, it's described in the Lashon of Amira. Hey, the fifth question. Yodua, it is well known, now that I already explained to you that there are two answers, and I have problems with both of the answers, let's just ask a very general question. It is known Rashi mefarish beish perushim b'inyan echad, when Rashi is not satisfied with one explanation. Rashi brings two answers, two explanations to a question that he has. Why does he bring two answers? It's because each answer on their own, each answer on their own is not picture perfect, doesn't answer all problems in the pasuk. What the first explanation still leaves you with questions, that will get answered in the second explanation. So why don't you just bring the second explanation? Because even though the first answer is not picture perfect, but the first answer is closer to his common reading of the pasuk, fits better with the pasuk. So we have to apply that rule in this case too, where the Torah says something, an issue where Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know. There are two explanations. Why is the first one better than the second? And what's wrong with the first one that Rashi had to bring a second answer? Tzarech Lahavin, the question has to be, Mahein hakoshim b'kol echem miperushim elu. What are the difficulties in each one of the two answers? Shebeshvilon huskak Rashi lahavi shneim. And because there are difficulties in both answers, Rashi had to bring two pirushim. He wasn't satisfied with one. In Ha'ara 11, the Rebbe brings from different Meforshei HaTorah, the Sifsei Chachamim, he brings from the Nachlas, he brings from the Maskil of David, different explanation they try to give what's wrong with each pshat, and the Rebbe challenges it. And the Rebbe is going to go on to explain his pshat, what was the basic, what bothered Rashi in the pasuk, something unique, a specific word that bothers Rashi in the pasuk. Because of that, Rashi was forced to bring two pirushim, because as we're going to soon see, each pirush is not picture perfect. Ois Beis, Habir Bekoza. The explanation is like this. The general point, how is it that Moshe was in doubt and he didn't have the final verdict and he had to go ask? That doesn't shock anybody. That doesn't demand any questions. Kikanal, because as mentioned before, Yesh Loimar, it makes very well sense to say, it could be this halacha, the Eibishter taught him Kol Torah, but not this halacha yet. So it could be that this halacha he wasn't taught. Even though this is 40 years into the Midbar, it could be he wasn't taught this halacha yet. Like in our case, this question, this debate with the Bnei Slavchad was 40 years into the Midbar. V'kama dinim. There are many dinim, v'ikrim, and important dinim. Nemru b'parshiyos shel achrei parshasenu. There are many Torah halachas that are only said after our parsha, and it's the first time it's being mentioned. That means until now, 40 years into Midbar, it wasn't taught this. So the fact that he doesn't know is not a shocker. He wasn't told it. El Shakan Hukshila Rashi. Here, what bothering Rashi is one word in the pasuk. Rashi, the pasuk says, Belishna v'kra. The wording of the pasuk, it says, Vayakrev Moshe es mishpatam. Moshe brought their judgment to ask Hashem. The word mishpat seems to be the wrong word to be used here. Why? He doesn't say Moshe Rabbeinu is presenting their case. Here is the dilemma. Here is the question. Please answer me. That's not what it says. It says he goes to the Eibishter and presents their judgment, their verdict. Why would he present a verdict if he knows the verdict? Why is he going further? If he has a verdict already, why is he going further? So listen to the words of the Rebbe. Madua tir akasav inyan b'loshem mishpat. Why does the pasuk describe what he went to ask Hashem in the word mishpat? V'loi b'loshem davar. He should have said, I'm presenting this thing, this case. Shehu loshen laragol b'gegoinda. This is more of a common word to be used in a case like this. As we find the word of davar used in reference to cases many times in previous parshias, and one of them Rashi himself brings, hadavar asher yikshem. Any case which is too difficult, I will answer. What word does he use to describe case? Davar. What's the difference between davar and mishpat? Says the Rebbe. Ha'hefresh bein davar lemishpat. The difference between davar in our case to word mishpat, davar, when you say the thing, koilo kola inyan medubar. It means to say I'm going to present all evidence. I'm going to present the whole 9 yards, the whole case. Hatainus, the claims, Vashakavataria, and the debate. That's what davar means. Here is your file with all the discussion. Mishpat When you use the word mishpat, it's a different word, a different understanding. Pirushay, it means hapsak din. Mishpat means, and this is the verdict. V'habirur da halacha shabenyan. This is what I decided. This is what Bezdin made a mishpat on the case. And since Moshe Rabbeinu turning to the Eibishter to ask, how should I deal with this problem? It must be, it's because of his lack of knowledge in what the halacha is. He doesn't have a verdict. So how does it make sense? I'm presenting the verdict to Hashem. Im kain, eich masim loimar, sheMoshe hikir v'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, es mishpaton, which is a reference to the psak din of halacha. Did Moshe Rabbeinu know, or did he not know? If he has a verdict, that means he knew something. Now, I skipped over a very fascinating ha'ara mistake earlier. In ha'ara 9, the Rebbe suggests something, and he says it's out of the world to believe that's what happened. The Rebbe says, in no chance would I believe that Moshe knew the halacha, but he made himself like he doesn't know. And the only reason he asked the Eibishter, so to give them credit. There's no making believe in situations like that. And the Rebbe puts in the parentheses that might be a shaila of inoi hadin, delaying a judgment. You're not allowed to do it. In Ha'ara 9 earlier. Anyways, back to the Rebbe's diuk. Mishpaton is what's bothering Rashi. Moshe knew what the verdict should be, and yet he's going to the Eibishter. Why? So therefore, because of that, Rashi brings two pirushim. Therefore, Rashi explains, Moshe really knew the verdict. And that's why the Torah uses the word verdict, judgment. Lahadgish, to stress, that the case that he has, he should have known a clear psak din, how to paskin. Nevertheless, even though he knows, he was forced to go to the Eibishter and ask. Why? Because the first answer says, because at this point, he forgot it. He was something that he knew and he should have known, and he had a mishpat already on it. But he wanted to take care of it, and it nisalma, he forgot. And the Rebbe says in the parentheses, Uke'ilu Amar HaKasiv, it's as if, imagine the pasuk would have said, Shemishpat zeh hoya b'yadai, that he had the verdict, v'nis'ala mimenu b'shah zu, just forgotten now. V'alkein hikriva v'nei Hashem. That's why he goes, asks Hashem, I forgot, what is the halacha? V'zel gam etam yishto Rashi. And this is actually, now you understand why when Rashi quotes the headline, words from the pasuk, Rashi insists not only to quote the words Vayakrev Moshe, he insists, Maitik, the words Mishpaton. Because from there, Ki Loshe Mishpat, Shayach Khan Rak Ligabe Moshe. Because when you say the words Mishpat, who knew the Mishpat? Moshe. Mikivin Shehu Yoda Halacha Mikvar, he already knew that there is a Mishpat. Therefore, what happened here that he turned to the Eibishter? So he says because it was a punishment. Nisalma. Only because Moshe was the one that went to the Eibishter to ask. That's why it makes sense to say, Moshe, by you should have known it's a mishpat. You for sure knew the verdict. Why are you asking now? So he gives the answer because he forgot. Somebody else wouldn't know the mishpat at all. The fact that the Torah calls it a mishpat, and Moshe knows the mishpat, and he turns to the Eibishter, that's because nis'alma menu halacha. Perfect. So what's wrong with this pshat? Didn't Rashi answer every issue? Says the Rebbe, Adayin yesh l'tmaya. There is still a question that begs to be asked. How is it possible that Moshe Rabbeinu forgot something? Who is Moshe? Rabbam Shekol Yisrael, the teacher of all Yidden, Shekibel Torah Sinai. Therefore Rashi says, V'kan Nifra, this is when he gets punished. Lahasber, to explain, Sha'alocha zunis alma mimenu, this halacha was forgotten from him, betur einish, as a punishment. Since he took upon himself, he placed a crown on his head when he said, anything difficult come to me, because it sounded a form of arrogance, therefore his punishment was in a way of midah keneged midah. Oh, you made it sound like you know everything. This alma mimenu halacha. The punishment is you forget something. So this is all explaining the first answer in Rashi. What's wrong with the first answer? Why does Rashi go on to bring a second answer? Gimel says the Rebbe kasha. According to this pshat, I'm stuck with another question. Moshe Rabbeinu said, when he said that quote that seems to be arrogant, he says, "V'hadavar asher yiksha," that the thing that's difficult come, I will answer. When did he say that? Right after they left Mitzrayim, within the first year of leaving Mitzrayim, Moshe was setting up the court system, the Dayanim. He says it how it should be done. When was this story of our parsha? V'tainas b'nei Slavchad hoyse b'shnas ha'arbaim, was at the end of 40 years in the Midbar. We're talking about a 40-year difference. As Rashi himself explained. So the Eibishter, listen to what maskana you come out here. Moshe Rabbeinu said something that sounded arrogant the first year of the Midbar. When does he get punished for this? 40 years later. Why would the Eibishter wait till 40 years later to punish him for what he felt he deserves punished? Why didn't he take care of it much earlier? How does it make sense? The Eibishter waits 39 years, and he didn't make something happen. Why let Moshe hang with this due punishment? Take care of the matter much earlier. Miyad. And especially for 40 years, people could have thought that what Moshe did was right. Maybe they would have appreciated. Maybe they would have behaved that way too. To eliminate that, take care of the issue, and show that what he did was wrong much earlier. Ha'ikuv, the delay, alulim Yisrael litais could make by a Yidden make mistake. V'lachshav, and to think shanachen adavar shanatal Torah. Maybe it's not so bad. What Moshe Rabbeinu said. They all heard Moshe Rabbeinu saying so. So that's what's bothering the second shot. You're telling me it's a punishment? He knew it, but it's a punishment? Why delay so long the punishment? So because of that little glitch in that first answer, the second shot says, I have a different answer. Therefore, Rashi gives a second shot. This parsha could have been said or written by Moshe. Hainu davar acher lamanis alma mimenu halacha. Listen to this. The second shot is not challenging the core answer of the first shot. Originally, we thought that the first shot was saying that he knew about it, but he forgot it. The second shot is saying that he never was told until now, because the Eibishter wants to give them his credit. No. The Rebbe is changing it. The Rebbe is learning shot that the second shot is digging deeper into the core of the first shot. Another reason why Moshe says, and not that Rashi changes his mind, from what he said earlier, that he forgot about this. The second shot is not arguing on that core principle. Ki ein bazeh kushi. That doesn't bother me. I have no problem believing that it was Moshe Rabbeinu forgot about it. V'gam, and not only I have no problem believing that. Miloshem mishpatam, from the word that Moshe says, I had a verdict. Muchach, that alone is a proof. That alone is a proof that he did understand. He did know about it. Shetzarech lias kain kanal. So what? Elamai, we are stuck with the problem. Why punish him 40 years later? Says the Rebbe, Loi mishum shekan nifra. This is not because 40 years later Moshe Rabbeinu was getting punished for what he did. El sha'adarabba, on the contrary. Ru'uya hisa parsha zuli kasev aydei Moshe. Moshe, the parsha should have been written through Moshe. El shezachu b'nei slafchad v'nichtav al yadam. Remember the change of words. Moshe should have written the parsha, but the writing of the parsha down, documented, is done because of the b'nei slafchad. Ulbeis hapirushim, medayik Rashi va'omer lihi kasev v'nichtava. It's all about the writing, dafka. Sherak kisivasa shal parsha. Only the documentation of the parsha of this halacha. V'halacha zu b'Torah. Only that ba b'schusam shel b'nei slafchad. Only that comes in the merit of what they did. Avol amirasa shal halacha zu me'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The actual saying, teaching of this halacha from the Eibishter, loy ba'al yadam. It wasn't because of them. Ki kvar amla l'Moshe. It was already said to Moshe. Elishanis alma mimenu betur einish. Oy bichdei shidikasev al yedei b'nei slafchad. Listen what the Rebbe just did. The core answer, the two answers, they're both the same. That Moshe was taught the halacha. Moshe already at one time knew the halacha. The difference is in the first answer, it was taken away from him to forget, so he should get punished. All right, but we're stuck with a question. If you're punishing him, why are you punishing him 40 years later? The second answer is Moshe Rabbeinu was taught the halacha, like any other halacha. It was taken away from him. It was taken away from him not the knowledge of the halacha. It was taken away from him the right of documenting the halacha until b'nai slafchad comes, because the Eibishter wants to give them some credit. Now that doesn't bother me that was 40 years later. The teaching of the halacha Moshe Rabbeinu knew, but the ksiva of the halacha, the Eibishter wants to give that credit to b'nai slafchad. So what's wrong with the second answer? Why isn't the second answer the best answer and put first? Says the Rebbe, Amna l'pirajeh kasha. According to the second answer, I have a different problem. Does it make sense to say, because of how special the daughters of Tzlafchad are, Yafsid Moshe Rabbeinu has to lose out, Shetesalim halacha mimenu? That because of that, Moshe was taught the halacha, but he has to forget it, not be able to document it, just to give them credit? So that's the flaw. That's the difficulty in the second halacha, in the second answer. L'chein maybe Rashi pirusha rishain. Therefore, Rashi is not satisfied with that answer, brings the first answer. The Yisayra Mizu not only brings the first answer, Toivsoi ki ikar, he makes it as if it's the main answer. Shenesalma mimenu halacha, the reason when Moshe Rabbeinu forgot the halacha, mipnei shenifral shenat al Torah, because he was getting punished for what he sounded a little arrogant. That is the pshat in the Rashi. So the Rebbe is mechadish that there's no real big difference in the core principle of the answer between the first and second Pirush and Rashi. Now in Sif Dalet, the Rebbe is going to turn this into the halacha, or drush. From the wonderful things that you could learn, at least as a remez from this Rashi, as you know this topic already, Says the Rebbe, Loshen Zush and this Alma Halacha mi Moshe, this concept, this expression, that a certain halacha was forgotten from Moshe, is not the only place we find it. We find it Nemra Gam B'Soif Parshas Balak B'Maisa Zimri. The story with Zimri and Pנחas, there too, it says Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know what to do. L'chayra Derish Bir. L'chayra, I have to understand. Lama Dafke B'Shnayim Elu Nis'alma Halacha Mimenu. What? There must be something that by the story of Zimri and Pנחas, and the story over here, the B'nai Slavcha, only over here it says Moshe was he forgot about it. What's common denominator in these two that Moshe must have known, but it was taken away from him? Listen to this wonderful pshat. V'abir b'zeh al derech halacha, and I'll explain this according to the halacha. V'yum tek yoser apirish al derech pshat. Once you hear the halachic perspective, it will even sweeten. It will make the pshat and the pasuk even better. His almos halacha mi Moshe. The reason it was taken away, Moshe forgot the halacha. Hu inyan anegeya leirak leMoshe. The fact that Moshe Rabbeinu forgets halacha is not something that only connected to him. He forgets. Elagam lechol Yisrael. It affects all Jews. Shehem mekablei halacha mi Moshe. If Moshe Rabbeinu forgets, he doesn't pass it on to us. So we get it later. Sharei einam yoidim klal al derech mitzias psak din zeh, because we will not know about what the verdict will be, what the halacha should be, until this halacha will be taught to Moshe a second time, because he forgot it. V'yelma de Moshe l'Yisrael, Moshe will teach it to the Yidden. So his loss is not only his loss, it's our loss. V'oid, and even more than that, gam la'achrei zeh, even after Moshe Rabbeinu remembers or is taught the halacha a second time, and he teaches it to us, we still lose out. Why? Because this will be a halacha which a person forgot something, and he remembers. When you remember something, it's not as strong, it's not as potent as if you never forgot it. And the Rebbe quotes a Gemara in Yuma, and the Gemara brings different examples. It's easier to build things with clay, fresh clay that was never used, than to take clay or mud that was already used and to deform it and restart it all over again. It's more difficult. So the Gemara says a statement like this: Eine daima lahalacha, you can't compare it to halacha shalei chalala shikhalaylam. A halacha that you never forgot is for sure much stronger than a halacha that you forgot and you remembered. V'amru Chazal tell us, Migmar ba'atikta kashya mechadata. Migmar ba'atikta kashya mechadata, meaning to say, to refreshen something old that you forgot, come back to your memory, is weaker than something fresh on your mind, something that you never forget. So the same over here by Moshe Rabbeinu, even though he was told that he told it again, but by the time we get it, we're getting a rebound of he forgot, he came back. It's not as the fact that he forgot it in between, we lose out. Umikivan shekain, if that's true, move on. Sheis almas halacha. It's self-understood that forgetting a halacha harei zachisarin b'mailas mensiras halacha min Moshe Rabbeinu ben Yisrael. That will lack a little in how he teaches that halacha. Ulam, however, this is in a typical case. If you forget something and you remember, you're missing the juice, you're missing the excitement, you're missing the same teaching as it was fresh. These two things that Moshe Rabbeinu forgot, this would be an exception to the rule. Despite the fact it was removed from him, he forgot. Despite that, when it comes back to him, it will come as strong as possible. Why? The two stories of Maisa Zimri and Tainus Bnei Sachad, Al Yadei Nas Alma Halacha Mi Moshe. By these two cases that Moshe Rabbeinu forgot the halacha, Oz Lo yifsidu b'nei Yisrael b'kabbalasim. We, the Yidden, did not lose out when eventually we were told of psak din. Ki gam lule his almos halacha, because even if if the halacha would have not been taken away from Moshe for a period of time, lo hayu yechayil lekabel Moshe atzmei b'shahi. It would have been impossible. It would be wrong, morally and halachically wrong, for Moshe Rabbeinu to teach it to us at a certain period of time. It's only after the rebound Moshe could teach it to us. Why? How does that make sense? Because there's something common in these two stories. These two stories, at a period of time, Moshe was not allowed to be involved. Where is it? The Gemara says in Maseches Yevamis, Kol Talmud Chacham Shemer Halacha Ba, any Talmud Chacham that makes a psak din, makes a verdict, and he does what he just paskin. There was a shaila, and he makes a favorable psak din, and he acts out and he benefits from it. Oh, so the Gemara says, Im Kaida Maisa Amra, if he says this before he did what he is doing, Shaimim Lay, you're allowed to listen. V'im lav ein Shaimim Lay, but if it's something that he benefits from his psak din, then we don't listen to him. Opirish b'Taisvis. Taisvis says, "Hainu dafka heicha dehu atzma negei b'davar." If the Talmud Chacham benefits from the psak din, oz ein shaimim loy, then we won't have to listen to him. Im loy amra koydem amaisa. If he didn't say it before the story took place, then we're afraid that his personal interest was here to gain. Says the Rebbe, let's analyze these two stories. We are talking about two stories that are happening now. A story of Bnei Slavchad, and a question that the person just died, and Bnei Slavchad are asking Moshe a personal question, and the same would be by Maisa Zimri. And Moshe had personal interest in these cases, b'shtei halachas. In both of these cases, Moshe had personal interest. Maisa Zimri, v'tainus b'nei Slavchad. How did Moshe Rabbeinu have personal interest? The Rebbe in Ha'ara 29 discusses Shaila, what is personal interest? If personal interest doesn't translate into money, not necessarily over here, Moshe's interest was money, financially. He didn't gain any money from any of this. It's just a personal interest in his honor, as we'll soon say. Would that also be considered Negea B'Davar? Says the Rebbe, let's take the story Maisa Zimri, the story of Zimri, where he did a terrible adulterous act. What led him to do that? How did he scream at Moshe? Pirush Rashi. Rashi explains, what made him have such a chutzpah? Amru loy, that Zimri went to Moshe and he said, Moshe, zu asura oy muteres, this shiksa, am I allowed to marry her, live with her or not? Im toimer asura, and if you tell me I'm not allowed to, excuse me, Moshe, bas Yisroi mihitir lecha, how are you allowed to marry Yisroi, the daughter of Yisroi? She's also a Midianite. If it was good enough for you, it's good enough for me. What did they just do? B'divrayim, with their claim, with these words, they placed Moshe Rabbeinu's response. He has a personal interest in this case, because he said, if it's good for you, it's good for me. Therefore, it makes very well sense to say, Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't answer and say, boy, the halacha in this case is a zealous, a kanoi doesn't allow, tell Pנחas that you shouldn't allow this to happen, because Moshe Rabbeinu can't respond to halacha at this moment. He can't respond to halacha because at this moment he's acting out of personal interest. V'chein b'tainus b'nei Slavchad. The same by the daughters of Slavchad. The same by the daughters of Slavchad. Hare Amru, when they came and asked for their inheritance, they beefed up their case by saying, "Oh, our father was a great person. Who loy haya badas kairach. he was not involved with Kairach. Why did they add that line? Why did they add that line? Our father was not involved in Kairach. Since they added that line that he wasn't involved with Kairach, what was the problem with Kairach? Kairach argued against Moshe. In other words, our father wasn't a bad guy. He was good with you. So Moshe has a personal interest in this case. Therefore, it makes sense. We can't listen to him. Moshe Rabbeinu cannot respond right now to this case. So at that moment, at those two moments, this alma mimenu. And the Rebbe in Na'aras 35 says, okay, but later on, when it's not, the case is not hot, then Moshe Rabbeinu would be trusted to say what the verdict would be in cases like that. And the Rebbe brings three reasons why later on, if it's not relevant anymore, personal interest, he could say he could respond. And if so, why Moshe Rabbeinu forgot what the halacha is by the case of Zimri and the case of Tzlafchad. We, the Yidden, don't lose out that the Moshe Rabbeinu had a rebound in the time of not knowing these halachas. Because even if he would have not forgotten, we couldn't take it from Moshe then, because he played a personal interest. Therefore, the Eibishter made, in a roundabout way, that these halachas should be forgotten by him. That we shouldn't lose out Meis Almos Halacha B'nai Yisrael. Why? Because eventually we're still going to hear it from Moshe. And once we hear it from Moshe, at least we heard it from Moshe, and at that time, after when the case is not relevant, he won't be anymore in a Geya B'davar.